Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Glasgow Rangers Nation, your daily news update, your daily Rangers channel, guys. If you want to get all the latest news from the most successful team in football, guys, then you need to hit that sub. You need to ring that bell, set it to all so you don't miss out, and also give the video a like, guys. It does help out. First of all, massive thank you. We're now at 600 subs. Had a phenomenal day again. Another video going massive again. I think it was 3K views last time I looked. Fantastic. Thank you so much for all your support. Victoria and I want to grow this channel to be one of the big Rangers channels, talking about one of the greatest teams in the world. Well, guys, let's start off. There is still a lot to talk about. There's still a lot of news to talk about. Obviously, the biggest news coming out of Scotland yesterday was the SFA's ridiculous, in my opinion, response to the letter that Glasgow Rangers sent in as regards the Alfredo Morelos disallowed goal. The SFA backed its match official and its VAR officials as regards the disallowing of Morelos's goal. Rangers have replied that they are dumbfounded in a way at this response, as it has been widely condemned, the decision, by a number of ex-referees, ex-players who all have said they cannot for the life of them see why this goal has been disallowed. Now, I know ex-Scottish referees spoke about why the VR couldn't get involved, etc., 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 but obviously this has been again dispelled by a number of English Premier League officials who've all said that that is not the case at all, and VAR can become involved in this decision making. So I don't think that Dougal, I think his last name is, knows exactly what he's talking about. The only people who think this goal should have been disallowed are Kevin Clancy, Nick Walsh, and obviously the SFA, and obviously Celtic. That is it. Dermot Gallagher, who some of you may know. Dermot Gallagher is an ex-top English Premier League referee. He's one of the foremost referees in Premier League history. He now works for Sky Sports and he does something called Ref Watch, where obviously he looks at the major decisions of a weekend and gives his opinion on them as an ex-referee. The Morelos goal was one of those decisions that he looked over this weekend, and this is what Dermot Gallagher had to say. Speaking on Sky Sports, Ref Watch, the ex-leading whistler, said, "I think Celtic got very, very lucky. Both players are grappling for me. It's best to let it go. I think the danger, both players are grappling. There's no doubt about it. They just got lucky." So, this is quite a telling statement, isn't it? Dermot Gallagher, ex-Premier League referee, ex-international referee, one of the best referees England's ever produced, realistically. This guy is a top guy. Has refereed major games in the English Premier League: Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool, Everton games, Man United, Man City games. He's refereed all the top games in England. He's coming out and he's saying that, he's reviewed the decision, he's looked at it, he's watched the video back, and in his opinion, the goal should have stood. You let it go because both it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Whatever the outcome is, you allow it to stand. If it's a goal, if it gets cleared, you allow it to be cleared and nothing to be given in favor of the attacking team. Interesting, isn't it, that a high-level ex-Premier League referee who has refereed at the very highest level and has refereed some of the biggest, most high-pressure games in England, as well as refereed international football, is stating that this goal should have been allowed. It appears to only be a part-time referee called Kevin Clancy, who really is one of the worst referees in Scottish football, who thinks it should have been disallowed, and the SFA, who are just clearly backing their own official because they don't want to do anything about how bad refereeing standards are in Scotland. Referees are part-time in Scotland. I get that. I get all that. Referees are full-time in England. Again, I get that. But the refereeing standards are absolutely awful. I mean, I'm not just talking about it because obviously the Morelos goal, which, like I said, I've now watched that video about 20 times. I've slowed it down. I've zoomed it in. And even trying to take off my Rangers hat for a minute, my Rangers goggles, there's no way you can disallow the goal. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Any contact between Morelos and Johnson. Johnson is virtually ripping Morelos' shirt off him. Morelos is pushing and shoving to try to get away from him because he's been held. It's fair enough. Celtic fans say, well, he pushed him. Yeah, he pushed him because he was being yanked and pulled. That's the response to the yank and pull. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So what makes the push, which comes second, worse than the jersey wrench. I don't get it. There is no. It's 6 of 1. There's no. It's the same thing, guys. It's the same thing. And Dermot Gallagher sees this. It'd be interesting to see what Celtic fans' response is to an ex-Premier League top level, high quality Premier League referee is. I'm sure they'll have some response to come back on that one, no doubt, which will be an absolute load of tosh. Anyway, let's move on with the news. What news today, obviously, was ex-Rangers player Thomas Buffel, who played with ex-Rangers legend Barry Ferguson, has today been comparing ex-Rangers captain Barry Ferguson to a present-day player. Yep, Buffel, talking to the media, compared Barry Ferguson to Nico Raskin, or Nico Raskin to Barry Ferguson, should we say, the other way around. Buffel said, that his opinion, Rangers have really struggled to replace Ferguson since he left in 2009. But he says he sees a lot of Barry Ferguson's style, his mannerisms, the way he plays, the caliber, the fight. There's just everything in Nico Raskin. He does see, in a way, Barry Ferguson remade, the Belgian Barry Ferguson, shall we call him. But it's interesting, isn't it, that an ex-Rangers player who played with Ferguson can see these similarities. And I know that he's not the first person to draw this comparison between Ferguson and Raskin. Raskin obviously played exceptionally well on Saturday in the defeat at Parkhead, dominated Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor wasn't a factor at all in the game, and a lot of that was down to the play of Nico Raskin. Raskin did really run that midfield, and was probably one of the best players on the field. So, Raskin, since he's come to Rangers, has been an absolute quality addition. The fact that he likes to carry the ball forward, he likes to be aggressive, he likes to get the ball forward. He's a very positive thinking player, plus a very physically strong player, plus a fighter, a battler, just like Ferguson. So, let's hope that Raskin can continue on as he is, and obviously continue those comparisons, continue to be drawn between Ferguson and Raskin can go on to be as successful as Ferguson was in his time at Rangers. Now, yesterday it was tweeted out on Twitter by a couple of sources that Rangers were interested in Hearts forward Lawrence Shankland. Shankland, who has got vast experience in the Scottish game, having played for Dundee United, Ayr United, and Hearts of Midlothian, as well as a time at Aberdeen as well, was reportedly linked with Rangers. However, now Rangers and also a number of sources close to Rangers have all denied this and said that Rangers have not approached Hearts, have not had any conversations with Shankland, and are currently not in any way, shape, or form interested in bringing Shankland to Ibrox. Looking at the types of forward that Beale has been linked with this summer, the likes of obviously Pirot from Swansea, Josh Maja from Girondins de Bordeaux. I don't think Shankland is the sort of player that Rangers will be interested in. If I'm being wholly honest about this, I think it's more the case that this is just, again, paper talk, fan rumor, a response obviously to the poor play of the forwards in the Old Firm game on Saturday. If you look at, in my opinion, we don't at this moment in time have a high quality forward. We really are lacking in quality forwards. Yes, Shankland is an interesting prospect. Yes, he is, a goal scorer. But I just think, at this moment in time, obviously, Alfie will most likely be off at the end of the season. Cholak can do it against those teams lower down the league, not so much against the top teams or in Europe. So, yes, there is a need to go and get a forward. Personally, I would love to see them bring in Josh Maja. I think Josh Maja is a quality player. I've actually seen him play live. I've seen him up close. He is very good, both-footed, very quick, good in the box, good out the box. So, for me, Maja would be a good acquisition for Rangers this summer. Now, a lot of people have been calling for the inclusion of this man in the remainder of Rangers league games. Mr. McCrory here, I'll be McCrory, the goalkeeper. He's a very young, promising, up-and-coming keeper. And Michael Beale has said as much. Michael Beale has promised to give him an opportunity. But I think that we do need to see what we've got in him. It's a possibility that he could save us an awful lot of money. Rangers are going to have to recruit a new goalkeeper this summer. Alan McGregor, does need to retire. He's 41 years old now. He was partly to blame for that Jota goal. You know, any younger goalkeeper would have got there to that. Was a bad back pass, don't get me wrong, was a shocking back pass. But, you know, a younger keeper, I think, would have definitely got there. McCrory, I think, would have got there and killed that goal at source. So I think, you know, look, it may be sacrilege just to say this. You know, Alan McGregor has been a great goalkeeper for Rangers. He has been a great servant for Rangers. He is one of the best goalkeepers in Rangers history, you know, possibly only second to Andy Gorham. But it's time for him to go now, guys. I think he looks every day. He's 41 years old. He's slow to respond a lot of time. He doesn't come for things that he should come for. You know, he has been to blame for a number of goals this season. So I think it'll be interesting, you know, in the league to actually see McCrory, to see what he's got. You know, put him in the Old Firm game at Ibrox in the league again, you know, so that he can be under a bit of pressure to see, is he up to it? Is he the sort of player that Rangers can rely on going forward? Or do we need to go and spend major money on someone like Woodman or Gunn or someone of that caliber in the summer as our new shot stopper and our new number one? Well, guys, thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. This has been all the latest news to bring you this morning. Keep tuning into the channel. Please hit the sub, ring the notifications, set it to all so you don't miss out on the daily news. And guys, always feel free to comment. You know, I will delete Celtic comments. I'm not interested in Celtic comments. I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to rise to them. I'm just going to delete them. I don't want to know. I'm not interested. I don't understand why they watch Rangers channels. I've never watched a Celtic channel, never would watch a Celtic channel. So, but yeah, I'd love to read your comments. I'd love to read your questions, your thoughts, and I'll always try and write back to you. Well, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm back to speak to you again really soon here on the channel on Glasgow Rangers Nation. Please hit that like.